What is up, New Beginnings Church? Happy Wednesday morning to you. It's hump day. Mama gets you over the hump. Let's do this. We're in our walk through the book of James, still in James chapter 4, still in one big text. So again, this is really kind of day 2 of this little text. And so if you missed yesterday, definitely pause and go back, or today won't make quite as much sense. But this is the chunk he says. He goes, "Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this city or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money." He goes, listen, don't make plans without considering God first. Verse 14, why? You don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. Yesterday, we talked about that. Don't make plans without God. That's really, really foolish. It's not wise to do that. But today, he's basically saying, hey, don't assume that you know what's going to happen tomorrow. Don't assume you know what the future holds. Don't assume that everything is going to go according to your plans that you made without God. So don't live in a state of presumption. And he does this first line. He goes, you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So first observation is this: life is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Any type of major shift and event in the world, in our nation, in our neighborhood, in our family, in our health, and things just shift and move really, really quickly. And that shouldn't scare us, because again, we don't put our faith and trust in the unknown future. We put our faith and trust in God. But he's like, hey, be careful. There's a warning here to not be presumptuous about the future, to make all these plans and feel like, because this is what we do sometimes. We start looking at our bank account and we start looking at the stock market. And we start, well, if I can get to this by 55, well, if I can get to here by the time I'm 30, well, if I can do this. And all he's saying is good, make plans. And don't get me wrong, planning is good. Proverbs says that the plans of the diligent make rich. We're just saying make your plans with God first in mind. Because, number one, life is highly unpredictable. Here's the second reason you always want to make plans with God in mind. And it's the second line where he goes, you are a mist that appears for a little while and then you vanish. He goes, in the realm and the scheme of things, you're here for a blip. I mean, you're here for that. That's all your life really is. I mean, if you live 70, 80, 90, even 100 years, you're still a blip. And he goes, so you can't live this little blip of a moment and do willy-nilly whatever you want and make all these presumptuous plans. It's too brief. If life is that unpredictable and that brief, how much more should you turn to your Heavenly Father? How much more should you surrender your life to the will and the ways and the plans of God? Watch this. Proverbs 27 verse 1 says, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. And so just be careful. There's a caution there. There's a warning there. Say, never make your plans on your own, because life is too unpredictable and life is too brief. I'd love to even write this down if you can. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know who holds the future. Let me say that again. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know who holds the future. Can I get an amen to that? And so again, make your plans. This is what we talked about yesterday. You just consider God first in all your plan making, because you can't predict the future and life is too brief. And so what plans are you making today that you've kind of made, maybe arrogantly, you've made without considering God, you've made without being prayerful, you've made without seeking wise counsel? What plans have you made? And is it possible for us to pump the brakes and pause and say, let me go back and make sure that I'm really considering the Lord with all my planning? But you know what? Because I can't tell what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't predict the stock market and the real estate market in the future and this job industry and this. You can't. And it's too brief to risk it on making these, because this is the problem. You make certain decisions and it can have a ripple effect, not just for a few days if you haven't unwork and unfix that thing, but sometimes years and even decades. And so let us be so cautious that we bring everything to the Lord before we go making these plans. Can I get an amen to that? Church, I love you guys. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.